sweet surprise. I could flip all the time that I borrowed and make another life. You can break my stride. There's a palace in my mind, made of light, and it shows. Yeah, yeah. The stars are falling, skies are raining gold. Yeah, yeah. Forever I'm free, that's what could be. So I'm waiting. I don't need a rush, I'm patient. However long it takes, I'll be there one day. Hey. Eternal, I'm alive and chasing whatever it is I'm facing. I can't walk away. There's so much left to say. Hey. Our story never has to end. Eternal, I'm alive again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another week of Otter Talk. It's the Platinum League, week 4 edition. I am Traxon. Joining me is none other than the Bully and Fallen. Sneaky Walls is our wonderful producer. How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. Well, let's get into it. So, as you guys saw last night, we're adding power rankings into the mix as well. So, without further ado, let's hop over to the Infernal power rankings. But I believe there is a quick announcement for this stream for something that's occurring during Otter Talk. Is that correct, Bully?
Yeah, just a couple mystery skins. Honestly, I'll probably start giving away mystery skins on Otter Talk from now on.
Oh,
But
okay.
it might be depending on thresholds we hit on stream as well.
All right.
So, the more people that come out to support Otter Talk, the more I will give out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't want to give out mystery skins and there's 5 people that enter. So
Understandable, understandable. And then, Feathers wins all of them.
this is true.
All right. Well, with that though, let's talk about the Infernal power rankings. So, unfortunately, we switched up the way we do our community vote, and it seems that that has confused a few people this week. So, make sure you get your votes in so we have a community vote moving forward for next week. Again, the top, we have our casters, then we have Fury, Bully, and our guest Fallen this evening. Right off the bat, as we are talking about Infernal, we see atop the standings, Undying Tyrants. Number one, aside from one caster who has flipped the UCF Lancers with Undying Tyrants. So we're just kind of go down the line, talk about your selections here. So Bully, go ahead. You have Undying Tyrants atop the standings as they are within Infernal 3-0, 6-1 game score. Go ahead and walk me through why you feel that this trend will continue.
I mean, they've been proven to do extremely well in these games. They have only lost one game, even though it was horrific against Cloud Team. Um, they bounced back, ended up taking that series 2-1, and they're currently sitting at 3-0 in series score right now. So I don't think I could justify putting them anything lower than number one.
No, 100% understandable. Fallen, you also have them up there. Anything you'd like to add with them?
Um, Obviously I'm on the team, so
Mm-hmm.
of course I'm putting us number one. And
Biased.
well, yes, of course, I'm admitting it. But the big thing is like the team, like the only team that we lost to was actually the only team that I'm like, wow, they're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually looking forward to eventually being able to play the people in the other bracket. That looks like that'll be fun.
Okay, fair enough. And since you put yourself at the number one seed, as well as the vast majority of people on the power ranking sheet. Now, my question to you is, how big of a gap do you feel there is between number one and number two on your rankings?
Uh, Honestly, like with us playing Cloud Team, the game that we lost went horrific.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as it was streamed. Uh, Game 2 was basically saved by our bot lane, and then Game 3 was just everybody was just on point. So I honestly feel like it's one of those things where it depends on the day. Like if we all show up, I think there's a huge gap. If somebody underperforms like I did when we played them the first time, then it'll be a lot closer.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Let's take a look at the next team we're going to talk about. Then it is Cloud Team, and both of you have them at second, sitting 2-1 in the series score and 5-3, with 1 point separating them between the UCF Lancers. Now, do you feel that Cloud Team is the definitive second place team, or do you feel that there could be some potential wiggle room between second, third, and even potentially fourth the
I
down the
uh, I
season?
think I think there's still wiggle room,
Okay.
especially because UCF Lancers is still sitting at 2-1. If you listen to the podcast we had that we published, a couple days ago, um, the guest was Snazzy from UCF, and they were extremely confident that they were not going to lose another game. And uh, I feel like they still need to prove that they are the definitive second team, or at least top three in this division. But they're still really solid. We've only seen 3 weeks, and of course, it's not going to be solidified until we see more weeks. This both divisions, of course, are very close, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of shuffle. We also see a lot of shuffle in power rankings right now.
True. True. And Fallen, you also have them slotted in to the second place. So tell me, you have some experience playing them. I don't think you played the UCF Lancers yet,
Nope.
but how do you feel that they are going to stack up against the rest of the bracket or potentially the teams that you've played thus far?
I mean, the other teams that we played were nowhere close to the level of Cloud Team. So I think if Cloud Team plays them, it's an easy win for them.
Did you play
All right.
UCF?
No, we haven't played UCF yet.
Okay.
I'm looking to see when that is.
Yeah, we played Blue Fire, we played TA, and then Cloud Team.
I think they play them week 7.
Week 7.
Literally the last week. Yeah.
That should be a pretty good game.
That'll
That
be a
could
good
decide
game.
who gets
Mhm.
first in this division, maybe, depending how
Potentially.
everyone does. But
Yeah, we'll see. We're a couple weeks off of that though, so we'll see how that works out. But all right, well, let's talk about obviously we've talked about UCF Lancers a little bit in here. Bully, you have them selected in as your number 3. And what's interesting is Undying Tyrants pretty much first. There is one second place. Cloud Team's pretty much second and third, and then you see UCF Lancers all over. First, second, third, fourth, 6th for some reason. They're all kind of all over the place. So, what are your thoughts on this team? You put them pretty high. I know one of the players was on the podcast, but give me your opinions on UCF and why they slot in the number 3 position.
I mean, that's what happens when you have 5 1-2 teams in this division, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, everyone's within a few points of each other, and
Mhm.
it's UCF has proven that they've been pretty solid. TA Spectre was looking pretty in the mud, but they did end up coming back, and I believe they beat Collective Sigma to be at 1-2, so they did shake things up quite a bit. I thought Collective was going to be solid from the beginning of the season, but it
Yeah.
looks like their synergy is just a little off. So I honestly, yeah, this bottom 5, I have no idea, but
Mhm.
can say that UCF has been doing pretty well in these first couple weeks. The only team they lost to was Collective, right? And the fact that Collective's only win is against UCF kind of makes me nervous to put them at 3, but I feel like I
Mhm.
have no one else to put at 3.
All right, fair enough. And what are your thoughts on obviously you haven't played them yet, Fallen, but what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far from the UCF Lancers? You've also put them number 3 too.
The the big thing with them is like assuming that the school actually cares about something besides its varsity team. Like if I remember, at UCF has 4 teams total, and like I've interacted with some of the coaches for their teams, and I just doubt that they have less resources than the rest of the team. So if they have a shaky start or there's something wrong, they probably have a better chance of fixing it than the rest.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's now kind of talk about the next team. I think you guys are very similar, to be honest, with your power rankings. But so next time we're gonna talk about it is Titan Gaming Obsidian. You both have slotted them in the 4th place position, and they're sitting 1 and 2 with a scoreline of 4 and 5 game score. And to clarify, the 4th place team right now is TA Spectre with 11, Titan with 11, ISU Genie Emerald with 11, Collective 10, Blue Esports Fire 9. So really between 4th and 8th, only 2 points separate. So this bracket's pretty much wide open at this point moving forward. But Bully, you have them in 4th place. So kind of walk me through your decision to put them here.
So every week, I believe they're sitting at 1-2, but they're also sitting at a 4-5 game score. So all three of their matches have gone a distance. So as much as they
Yeah.
could be 1-2, they could be 2-1 right now, 0-3, or 3-0 right now. So a lot of these games are extremely close, and they do have the potential because they have been taking these games off their opponents. It's just buckling down the hatches and not going to 3 games, or just trying to win 2, or just winning in general. So I think from the beginning of the season, I thought Titan Gaming did have a lot of potential of being one of these top 3 seeds in Infernal, but they just haven't shaped up to be one of them as of yet. But I still think they have the potential, and eventually, I do think we will see them at least making one of these playoff slots, if not taking one of the top 3.
Right. Fair enough. So you've predicted playoffs, potentially top 3 Fallen. You've also put them in the same spot that Bully has. But my question to you is, how do you feel about them moving forward? And do you feel that this amount of games going the distance is indicative of a potentially struggling team or a team that is able to grow based on the amount of games that they're playing right now?
I mean, anytime a team goes through a series and they lose, but they take a game off, that's always a good sign. Because you immediately have to look at that and look at the teams who don't take a game off, and you have to put them higher. Even if it is a loss, it shows that they can win. They just need to be able to carry the momentum.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a really good point. That consistency to always fight back, regardless if they lose the first game or lose the second game, they're able to kind of bounce back and pick up at least one win, which is important.
Uh,
See that? Mhm.
Fallen, pick a number between 2 and 10.
Between 2 and 10.
Hmm.
Uh, let's go with 5.
All right, I'm guessing Trax, you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So we will do a giveaway, and the sub luck will be 5 times. Uh, thank you, Fallen. But the
Okay.
key word is going to be BOL 3. Let's go with that.
All right, exclamation mark BOL3 in the chat if you want that chance at a mystery skin. Best of luck to everyone out there looking to grab that one up. All right, let's talk about the next team though. It is TA Spectre. And Bully, you have them slotting in the 5th place. Meanwhile, Fallen, you got them in 7th. So I think Fallen, you're kind of the odd one out when it comes to placing TA Spectre. So walk me through why you have placed them in 7th when the average is 5th.
They just I'm trying to think of how to say it without coming off as too blunt. But
Look,
they
that's one of
just
the beauties of Otter Talk. Get on, talk a
Be
little
as
trash
blunt as you
talk.
want.
Yeah,
Just
it
don't
gets clipped. Just don't
just
get us banned.
I mean they felt like a gold team.
Oh,
Like
wait, who are we talking about?
Blue Fire Esports, at
Oh yeah.
least they had more than one bright spot. I forget exactly who it was, but they had one person on their team who was actually I'm like, okay, they're pretty good. And it's hard for me to put somebody higher or a team higher based off of a singular person.
Okay, so basically you're saying one player pretty much carries TA Spectre to that 7th place position, and otherwise, they're a team struggling without them, to clarify?
Uh I would mean more so that there is one person who I would label as good,
Okay,
and the
okay.
rest just aren't.
All right, okay, fair. Uh, you might disagree or you might agree with that statement, but Bully, you've put them a little bit higher in 5th place, so go ahead and walk me through your positioning of TA Spectre.
I believe you guys played in week 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
Right. Right. So from that time, they actually made a bunch of roster changes, and they've
Oh,
upgraded their roster quite a bit. So I think those roster, like the changes they made, I think makes them a little bit better of a team, and that showed last week as they at least won their first match. Was it last week?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
look that deep into it, so you're probably right.
yeah, and I think as eh, like I said before, though, like these bottom fives can be interchanged quite a bit,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be surprised if TA Spectre just lost the next 4 matches, but it's kind of goes with everyone. Um,
Okay.
and these bottom five. So I think TA Spectre is a little bit better than they were in the first week, but who knows?
Fair, fair. All right, next team we're going to talk about. It is ISU Genie Emerald coming in at 1-2 with a 3-4 score line, tied for fourth in points. We're gonna let Bully start this one off, where
Dropping out.
you have placed them seventh now, and Fallen has placed them fifth. So we're kind of flip flopping with Genie and TA here. So
Uh,
Fallen, go ahead and take it away.
so I'll be completely honest. These bottom three, I have no like. It was you can see how like the diversity of this bottom three. Besides,
Yeah.
like one of the cats put UCF in the bottom three, which none
Yeah.
of us agreed with. But it's
Yeah.
it was more of I guess I got to the point where it's like, do I put G and E above Collective? Do I put them above TA? And I can make the cases that I could, but I feel like there's an overwhelming number of like cases where I shouldn't. And G&E has been inconsistent. I thought they're going to be a little bit better, but their inconsistency is showing. And if they want to win my love, they need to start buckling down the hatchets, win these games, and prove that they should be one of the top 5 seeds.
All right. Obviously, there's a little bit of disagreement there, Fallen. You placed them a little bit higher than the Bully did. So,
Hmm.
tell me why.
Um, to be honest, I have to give the teams that we haven't played against yet more credit than the teams that we haven't.
Okay.
So, because that's just the way I feel. Obviously,
Fair. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So
I
what he's
believe
trying
it.
to say is that he doesn't know how
Yeah.
good they are
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. That's fair.
Mhm.
All right. Well, let's talk about the next team. You guys both put them in sixth. It is Collective Sigma coming in at 1-2 with a 2-4 game score. Fallen, go ahead and take this one away.
It's one of those things where, once again, with them being a team we haven't played yet, I'm going to give them a little more leniency than TA and Blue Fire. Obviously, as we mentioned, the roster changes. I won't really have a good idea of TA until we play them again, regardless of whether that be one of the tournaments or playoffs if they make it. Depends on obviously what happens. But Collective Sigma, they just don't look as impressive as the other teams we haven't played yet.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Bully, anything you'd like to add? I know your bottom three are kind of all very close, but feel free to give me some
I would probably agree. I think
thoughts.
most of us agree that Blue Esports hasn't been showing up as much as they could, but Collective pretty much on the same page. I really want to know Res what's opinions on this
Mhm.
honestly, because they put Collective at number 2. I'm very curious to see the reasoning of that, but um, it's I think it's just a little bit too hard to decide on these bottom 3.
Okay, fair. And then we have one more team to talk about. It is Blue Esports Fire. Both of you have put them in last place, as well as a handful of casters, including Fury, who unfortunately was not available this evening to comment. But Bully, tell me why.
Same reason they haven't
Okay.
proved. It looks like so they've gone 7 games total, right? So
Hmm.
their only win was a 2-1. Um, so and they lost 0-2, 0-2. So it's a little worse than a lot of these other teams. I believe
Hmm.
Collective have
But
won their only won at 2-0. But
could you argue that it was the strength of the schedule up against Cloud Team and Undying Tyrants, who many hail as the number one, number two seeds
I could.
in
I
this
could.
tournament?
You're right. Right. And they beat, let's see,
I believe it was ISU Genie Emerald.
ISU Genie Emerald. I had ISU Genie Emerald right above
Hmm.
them. And that could easily be flip flop. I could put them at 7-8. I think it's more of Blue Esports has better potential to do a lot better early on, or later on in the season. Yes, you're right. They played two of the best teams, but how does that affect their mental going into these last few weeks? Being 1-2, it could have been terrible if they started 0-3, right?
Mhm.
Even if you're a really solid team, as a team, if you start 0-3, you just feel like down in the dumps, and your gameplay can be affected by that. But yeah, you're totally right with that.
Fair. All right. And Fallen, you also have put them in last place. I believe you play them,
We played
is
them.
it weeks?
They were
Yeah.
they were week
Mhm.
2.
So kind of give me the rundown on that.
Uh, I unlike with Tay Spectre, I wouldn't have anything good to say.
Yeah.
They just they didn't feel like a team. It felt like 5 people in a solo queue game.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. We can move on. All right. Well, that does conclude the Infernal Power Rankings. It's time to throw it over now and take a look at the Hex Tech rankings. And with that,
This is a lot, a lot closer than or
Mhm.
more similar than other ones. But
Yes. Again, it is week 3, so we're only going off a little bit of information, and you either haven't lost anything
Mhm.
or you've lost, the same amount as everyone else at this point, is what it feels like.
Pretty
So
much.
here we are. Sitting, to clarify, sitting atop the standings, it is CB Rush 3-0, CB Ruby 2-1, as well as GSG Sigma, Absolute Esports, and then it's Revolution Ice Age, Dragonclaw, Cloud, Titan Gaming Violet at 1-2, and Glacial Carnage at 0-3 at the moment. So that's what we got coming into week 4. And taking a look across the board, it is 100% defending champions. CB Rush dropped 1 game so far in first place. Fallen, the other first place team, both sitting 6-1, 17 points. How do you feel about CB Rush?
I want to play them. I don't think anybody's gonna be top 1 or 2 besides the TV teams. Both of them, last time I checked, had majority of the top 5 or top 10 spots as far as player stats goes. So I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully eventually playing them, and I don't think they'll move anytime soon.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And Bully, what's your thoughts on CB Rush here?
I think it's more of everyone assumed that CP Rush is going to be the best um, team in this division and probably the season. But I don't think they're as good as like the other CP Rush iterations from like previous seasons. So I think they're still beatable. But do I think other teams could beat them as of right now? In a full series, probably not.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Next up, let's talk about another CB team. It is CB Ruby that we're going to be talking about. Everyone except for one of our casters has them in the second place. So, Bully, we're going to let you lead us off with this. We're going to be agreeing, it looks like, a lot for these power rankings. So,
I'll I'll be honest. I'll play
yeah.
devil's advocate here.
Okay.
The only series that CP Ruby has won is versus Revolution and Glacial Carnage, and
Hmm.
those are the bottom 2 of my power rankings. Yes, this is number 2 of my power rankings right now, but they haven't been playing like the top 4 teams besides
Yeah.
them. So they play CB Rush this week, which they could easily drop to 2-2, and then Absolute is still insane. GSG is still good. Like if this team could easily become 2-4 team by the time we know it. The only game CB Rush lost was the Dragon Claw, and they're sitting at 1-2 in the power in the
Mhm.
standings right now, if I'm not mistaken. So like, there's a lot of teams that they could easily lose to and drop in these power rankings. But the only good thing and the only reason why I put them at number 2 is because they made upgrades throughout the season. They were able to now get a solidified roster, and they should be able to move forward with a solid 5 uh, starting squad.
All right, fair enough. And Fallen, what are your thoughts on CB Ruby here?
Uh, it's one of those things where if the team from one org does well, I would assume that the other team would be in a
Okay.
similar position with the same resources. I don't think that CB Rush would have more resources than CB Ruby, especially considering they are playing in the same league.
Mhm.
So I would assume that they would be higher than some of the other teams who just frankly don't look that good and have nothing really impressive stat wise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, both CB teams sitting atop the standings. Next up, though, it is GSG
Actually, before you
Sigma.
do that,
Yes.
I'm actually gonna go ahead and roll this in about
All
like
right.
2 minutes of last couple minutes to join the giveaway. Keyword is !BL3. So if you haven't, make sure you do that. 5 times sub luck, and yeah, for a
Best
mystery.
of luck. Yeah. All right. So GSG Sigma sitting in third place, well, tied for third place with Absolute Esports. And the majority of everyone has them within the top 3. Fallen.
Besides
What are-
Oliver.
yeah. What are your thoughts on GSG Sigma?
That's funny.
They were a team that I also noticed a lot going through the top of the stats. And one thing to keep in mind for this division, obviously not really playing any of them. That's the biggest way to have
Yeah.
a good, accurate estimate. But stats don't lie, and if they have somebody on their team who can actually perform and get ranked highly, then I personally believe that whoever that is can go through and actually elevate their team to a higher level.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. How about you, Bully?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think their only loss was to CB Rush, and getting CB Rush out of the way is at 2
Good
and 1.
feeling.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah. It is a good feeling indeed. All right, next up, it is Absolute Esports. We're just kind of going down the list together because your picks are the same, all 3 of you. 2-1, 5-4, tied with GSG Sigma, as we previously stated, for third place. Bully, I'm gonna let you lead this one off.
Yeah, it's the same reason. Absolute actually beat CB Ruby, if I'm not mistaken. So, already took a game off one of the top teams in most people's eyes. But I think their only issue was the one team they lost to was, let me check. What was it? Dragon Claw? I believe they lost to Dragon Claw in week 2. I might be wrong, but the big thing about this is that they've gotten the distance every games, right? They're 5
Yeah.
and 4, so 9 games played,
Yep.
and their wins are 2 and 1s, and the losses are 1-2. Solid team. It seems like they can keep a good mental throughout the series, and I look forward to them just keep improving throughout the season. But like I said, they have potential to beat these top teams, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do beat GSG or even take a game or 2 off CB Rush.
All right. Fair enough. How about you, Fallen?
Uh, honestly, it's just one of those things where I put them, I expect them to do better than everybody below them, but I think anybody above them, it is either close or they're just going to lose.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. All right.
It's,
Up next.
it's so hard to choose these with 3 weeks,
Mhm.
but that's
It is.
that's what it is. We
So
should speed this up
understandable.
just a little bit so we can get through
Yep.
predictions
Yep.
as well.
Up next, Revolution Ice Age. It does seem like Bully, you were the kind of outlying individual with your selection, putting them in 7th. So go ahead and give me the rundown on that.
So if it was before last week, Revolution was going to be higher than Titan Esports Violet, but Titan Esports Violet actually won against Dragonclaw,
Yeah.
and which surprised me. And honestly, it's more of the same as the Infernal power rankings because these bottom 4 teams can be actually not bottom 4. These the next 3 teams could be interchangeable. Unfortunately, Glacial Carnage not team anymore, but the fact that Titan Esports beat Dragonclaw gives me a little bit more hope in them, but
Mhm.
maybe that was just a fluke.
Yeah, we shall see. Shout out though, Revolution picking up wins. It was a little rough last season, but they're looking better, much better this season.
True.
With that though, we're gonna take a look now at Dragon Claw Cloud and Fallen. You put them in 7th place, where the average seems to be around that 5th or 6th area. So kind of tell me why you rank them a little bit lower.
It's one of those things where whenever I was going through and I was ranking, I just felt compelled to put Titan Gaming above them,
Mhm.
and as such, that's what I did.
Okay.
It was just honestly a gut feeling with no real reasoning behind it, just
All right.
intuition.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, we're going to talk about it is Titan Gaming Violet. Bully, what are your thoughts on you put them at 6th? Give me the rundown on where you put them.
The same reason, right? They
Mhm.
should be. They would have been 7th in my rankings if they didn't do well last week,
Okay.
but they did. I do think they have a little bit of life coming into this week, and they. I think they can beat Revolution. Did they actually play? I don't remember, but let me go check that real quick. Actually, Revolution did beat Titan Gaming first week. So I think these last 2 could be interchangeable.
All right. Fair. Fair. And last but not least, Glacial Carnage in last place, 0-3. Unfortunately, the only team in the Platinum League yet to pick up a win. So they have won games, 2-6 series score overall. Everyone except for one individual has slotted them in 8th place. So Fallen, go ahead and give me the rundown on Glacial Carnage here.
I'm actually kind of surprised that they disbanded, but they didn't look like they were having really a good time at all. And
Mhm.
it was just kind of depressing looking at the stats because it didn't look like there was really going to be a bright side for them.
Okay. All right. Well, that does conclude Infernal and Hextech Power Rankings. It's time to take a look real quick at the matchups for the evening. Starting off that first match, it is Blue Esports Fire taking on the UCF Lancers. Everyone except for Fallen has selected the UCF Lancers. So, Fallen, what's going on?
So, for what was this for?
So Blue Esports Fire taking on UCF Lancers for
Hmm.
the first match in Infernal that we're talking about tonight.
Uh, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't remember sending that.
Okay, it might have been a mix-up. All right, fair. So are you leaning UCF Lancers then?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, definitely. Do you think it's gonna be a close game? Do you think it's gonna be a well-fought game?
I think they're gonna get smashed.
Okay, 2-0?
If I'd bet money on it, yes.
All right, sounds good. Up next, it's Undying Tyrants taking on Titan Gaming Obsidian. Bully, how close of a match is this? Everyone has selected Undying Tyrants. To clarify, is it a close game? What's the series score? What's going on here?
Uh, I had no reason to say that Undying Tyrants will lose a game because
Mhm.
as you saw in my power rankings, I put Undying Tyrants at 1, and I think they play Titan Game Obsidian. Uh, I actually think this is gonna be a 2-1. Honestly, I think Titan Gaming is the team that will take the team to distance. But if Titan Gaming wins, it will shake up this
Yeah, for
entire
sure.
division.
Yeah. Up next, it is two teams that are pretty close in the standings, both sitting 1 and 2. It is ISU Genie Emerald up against TA Spectre. This is pretty much a 50-50 split. And Fallen, you've went with ISU Genie Emerald. Tell me why they beat TA Spectre in this best of 3 here.
It's because I didn't realize that they made roster swaps,
Okay.
and the TA Spectre that we played against, uh, I don't really think would beat anybody besides Blue Fire.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. All right. So we'll see if the roster swaps are enough or if that potential lack of synergy could create a problem for them in their best of 3 tonight up against ISU Genie Emerald. Up next, we're going to talk about Cloud Team coming in at 2-1, taking Collective Sigma coming in at 1-2, and everyone has selected Cloud Team to win this series. Bully, go ahead, tell me why you feel everyone has selected Cloud Team, how close of a series this is going to be, and the series score.
Cloud Team's correct, but Collective just has a bunch of up and downs. We could see a Collective on like the up, right, and take a game off Cloud Team. But I think Cloud Team has shown that they have pretty solid players. They took the only game off of Undying Tyrant so far, and the other series they've played in, they did pretty well. So I would say this is going to be a 2-1 from Cloud Team. I think Collective Sigma, they've been making these roster changes for the couple like last 2 weeks, and I think it might change some things, but not enough.
All right, fair enough. We're now going to take a look at the Hex Tech matchups. Up next, it is Absolute Esports taking on Titan Gaming Violet. Everyone has selected Absolute Esports. So, Fallen, is it a close series? What's the series score? Is there any chance Titan is able to pull off the upset?
Uh, Honestly, like, I think it could be close. I would more often than not bet a 2-0 because I think the only way a 2-1 is going to happen is if a team has just a random blunder out of nowhere and they're basically equal teams. So I would probably give it a 2-0.
Okay.
But big thing about Absolute is I just have more faith in them than the other team.
Fair enough. All right, next up, it is Glacial Carnage taking on Revolution Ice Age. Glacial Carnage sitting at 0-3 up against the 1-2 Revolution Ice Age. Everyone has selected Revolution except for Fallen. So, Fallen, you're going to have to defend yourself here. You went for the team that has yet to pick up a victory in this league over Revolution. Tell me why.
Well, good question, especially considering with them disbanding. Uh,
True.
if they win, it's probably because the other team also didn't show up.
Mm-hmm. True. Okay. Fair enough. Up next, GSG Sigma taking on Dragon Claw Cloud, 2-1 up against a 1-2 team. 2 points separate these two teams. And except for two casters, everyone has selected GSG Sigma. So, Bully, walk me through it.
Start with Fallen.
All right, Fallen, walk me through it.
for GSG.
Yes, GSG Sigma up against Dragon Claw Cloud.
I mean, personally, I think the top 3 is pretty solidified for this division, and with GSG being my third team, I just don't think Dragonclaw really has a chance.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And last but certainly not least, it is CB Ruby taking on CB Rush. This will be one of our streamed games. I believe this is on Blue Water League 2 tonight. Everyone has selected CB Rush. Bully, you want to talk about it, or you want to throw it over to Fallen real quick?
Well, like I said before, CB Ruby has only played like the bottom tier teams, in my opinion, so far. And they have a lot to prove if they want to have a chance to beating Rush. But if they do, it does basically solidify them as 1 or 2 in the division. Even if they take a game, I think it solidifies them as number 2. But like I said before, I don't think they're untested right now. I don't think they could actually stand a chance against CB Rush, and I think it's gonna be a quick 2-0, like literally 25-minute games each.
Wow. All right. Fair enough. So then, before we throw to break, is there any competition for CB Rush potentially on the Infernal side?
Oh, me?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you said competition from
Yeah,
CB
so if you feel
CB
that
Rush. Oh,
CB Ruby doesn't have much to offer CB Rush in this best of three, do you think that there is competition perhaps in the Infernal division?
I think eventually they will. There are gonna be teams that prove us wrong.
Mhm.
I don't think CB Ruby is it. I think within their own division, I think like uh, did they play Absolute yet?
I don't know. Let me look. Ruby played Absolute week 1. I don't think they have.
So
No.
I think Absolute Esports actually has a chance to take a game or two off of
Okay.
CB Rush. Um, but on the other side, Cloud Team and Dying Tyrants would be my best guess. UCF might be able to do as well, but it's always hard to go against CB Rush, especially with
Yeah.
they're just the winning consistency. They've been playing really well. They don't have the same roster, like nowhere near the same roster as previous seasons, but they're still a really solid team.
Yeah, they are. With that, though, anything you would like to say fallen to your opponents before you head out to get ready for your game?
I do have one comment about CB Ruby versus CB
Okay.
Rush though,
Okay.
which is like out of every match throughout the split, it's going to be the most interesting one to watch because when you're a part of an org with two different teams, like
Mhm.
you got more than just a record on the line. You
The
got
pride,
that
yeah.
pride, yep. And that's I don't think it'll be quick games.
Okay.
I actually think it's probably going to be, 30, 35-minute games. And I think it's definitely going to be the most interesting games throughout either of the divisions. Simply because there's more on the line than just the score.
Sure.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, thank you for coming out. Best of luck in your games.
Thank you.
We're going to throw to a quick break, and when we are back, we'll have Blue Esports Fire taking on the UCF Lancers on Stream 1, and CB Ruby taking on CB Rush on Stream 2. We'll be right back.
You love your sticks and stones. You throw them my way to make a point, but I don't have hollow bones, so you'll never take away my voice. You used to feel like home, but now the whole place is so destroyed, and I'll survive on my own. I'm stronger than when I started, even through all the times I hit the ground. I'm stronger than what you wanted, even through all the times you burned me down. I keep rising from the dust. You used to always say words that were laced with poison love, and you thought I'd always stay. Guess it turns out push came to shove. We'll never be the same. You take the dig, I take the jump. I finally found my way. I'm stronger than when I started. Even through all the times I hit the ground. I'm stronger than what you wanted. Even through all the times you burned me down. I'll keep rising from the dust.
I'm falling like an asteroid. Is anybody out there? I stepped outside into the void. Please hurry up, ignite flare. Will you ever try to rescue me? I don't wanna see you go. Can you see the dark surrounding me? I wait here for you. Search for you.
Everybody.
If she don't know what happened, then I might call that tragic. I misplaced all my matches on my way to that address. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow. So please don't judge my actions. I've learned my way through practice. I've misplaced all my matches. I'm on my way to that address. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You keep saying I have an accent. I just waste our lives in traffic all day. He don't got your heart, he Google mapped it. I'm on my way to that address. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow, slow. Take it too slow, slow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Otter League Week 4. We unfortunately have a little bit of announcement rather than Game 1 coming your way right now. Blue Esports Fire and UCF Lancers have mutually agreed to move their game over to 9 o'clock p.m. EST. So, just stick with us. We'll be back in around an hour, bringing you the first in what is sure to be a banger series.